Around the world, leaders and policymakers are pursuing new paths to efficiently scale up efforts to cost-effectively reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate climate change. Emissions trading, also known as cap and trade, has emerged as an important policy instrument for achieving cost-efficient greenhouse gas emissions reduction while encouraging innovation and investment in clean technologies. The central idea behind emissions trading schemes is to establish a price for carbon by 1. Setting a cap for greenhouse gas emissions, 2. Allocating emissions allowances or permits to emitters, and 3. Adopting rules for trading of allowances among emitters. The trade determines the carbon price. By making it more expensive to release CO2 into the atmosphere, emitters are given a financial incentive to shift to cleaner energy sources. Emissions trading schemes, also called ETS or cap-and-trade schemes, use the market forces of supply and demand to find least cost emissions reduction across complex economies. Let's look closer at how it works. To set up an ETS, a central authority first places a cap on total emissions. This results in the establishment of a limited pool of emission allowances. One permit equals the right to emit 1 ton of CO2 equivalent. These emission allowances are then distributed to companies in economic sectors covered by the ETS, either for free or by auctioning. The entities under the scheme now have to make sure that they possess a sufficient number of allowances to cover all of their emissions. They have to hold sufficient allowances to cover their emissions by the end of each compliance period. Companies that find it too expensive to reduce emissions internally can buy unused allowances from other companies that have cheaper ways to reduce emissions. Emitters with high costs for cutting emissions can thus meet their obligations, and emitters with lower abatement costs can profit from selling excess allowances. The path for developing an ETS gets its unique shape from each country's unique policy goals, economic characteristics, and administrative capacity. The E-Institute course entitled Emissions Trading Schemes, Using Markets to Promote Low Emissions Development, digs deeper into the challenges and opportunities associated with this type of carbon pricing instrument. Throughout this course, you will explore design. How do a country's unique policy goals and unique economic characteristics affect the design of an ETS? Implementation. What are the steps and institutions needed to implement an ETS? Limits. What are the limits to what an ETS can accomplish? Lessons learned. What can we learn from the successes and failures of different countries' ETS experiences? By the end of the course, you will better understand when ETS makes sense for a country or region, as well as the benefits and challenges in the context of low-emission development, so you can be ready to explore if and how an ETS can be an effective option for your country's unique development path.